Yo, what's going on guys, HyperX here and welcome back to another Division video. As always, it is the weekend, which means the vendors have rotated new stock or new blueprints in the Dark Zone safe rooms, the base operations, terminal, and the underground. And I'm here to tell you guys what is for sale and whether or not any of those items are worth purchasing. Advance warning, this week is not a very exciting week on the weapon front, but gonna go through it anyway in case you guys do want to know. Also, usual kind of caveat that 1.4 is on the horizon. We're now in October. It's supposed to drop at some point this month. We don't have a date for it just yet. But because a lot of stuff is going to change then, and we'll of course be getting new blueprints and better stuff going forward, then I will, as mentioned, only recommend things if they are absolutely necessary or if they're things that will actually be viable in 1.4. Anyway, if you do enjoy this, like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts, but let's get started. So DZ02, as always, this is where you go to get your gear pieces. This week you can get your stamina knee pads, your stamina backpack, electronics backpack, and electronics vest. So pretty quick there, nothing exciting, no gloves or chest pieces like the usual candidates, so really nothing worth speaking about. So moving over to DZ03, this week the weapon that you can buy outright, the Gear Score 2291, is a PX4 Storm Type F, and while the PX4 Storm is going to be buffed in 1.4, at this current moment in time, I still wouldn't necessarily pick it up. Also, when you consider it's a DZ rank 90 weapon, going that far for a pistol, it's really not something I would recommend. It also has Expert and Competent on it, so not a particularly exciting set of talents. As for the blueprints, you have a tactical AUG A3P and a custom M870 MCS. And again, same sentiment, in 1.4 there will be level 32 and level 33 blueprints applicable in the different world tiers. So really, unless you're playing through the game for the very first time and you just want something new, then there's really no value here. So, moving over to DZ04, this is where you go for your gear mods. Now, performance gear mods, I spoke about these last week, but they are actually worth picking up now. True, you will be able to get level 33 performance gear mods in 1.4, but irrespective of that, a blueprint for a performance gear mod will still have value, because the way that performance gear mods are working now, the way they work in 1.4 is a lot better. I've actually got a video coming later on today, so do stay tuned to the channel. I'm basically going to show you guys how performance gear mods work in 1.4 now. It's a really good system and something that doesn't conflict with other gear mods, so you can actually use them side by side as opposed to having to opt for a either or kind of scenario. So actually worth picking up, especially if you guys do want to, say, bolster some of the skills you use with, say, some of these skill attributes, then definitely do consider those. And of course, on top of that, the easy win is electronics gear mods. Those gear mods are always useful, whether they be electronics, stamina, or firearms, so if it's something you spec into, then consider picking it up, especially considering it is a level 32 version. As for DZ05, weapon mods this week are either an extended magazine, again, safe, always get this one. Extended magazine is one of the best things you can have for a weapon, and a small RDS scope, so again, if that's applicable to your weapon, then you can consider that. So that was a quick look at the Dark Zone. I don't want to hang around too much because honestly, as mentioned, I don't really want to recommend too much stuff in there because it is all subject to change. As for the base of operations, we have an AUG A3 Para XS and a SOCOM MK20 SSR. The AUG has Ferocious, Destructive, and Accurate. Yes, Destructive is good, that's a given. Ferocious, less so. It would more than likely be the one you roll out, but given that the AUG is not necessarily the top tier SMG right now, I just really don't think it's worth your time, nor your money, so hang tight for there. And as for the SOCOM MK20, then this has an even worse set of talents, Capable, Adept, and Dominant, so not even going to waste your time with that. As for the terminal, honestly, a very similar situation. First wave M1A, classic AK-47. The M1A has stable, commanding, and proficient. I really don't like the talent stable. It's kind of a complete waste, but also in this situation, proficient is also a wasted slot, so even with recalibration, you couldn't really make this one good. So moving on from there to the classic AK-47, again with commanding and also determined. Really not exciting. I just don't like commanding simply because I don't feel there's a situation where you can really get good use out of it. Yes, it does have the chance to extend the duration of your signature skill, but I've never really seen a situation where you can actually get so much value out of it that it warrants taking it over other talents. So I just completely discount that talent for the time being, and again, determined, also not that exciting, so while destructive is a nice thing to have, recalibration isn't going to fix this, so again, just a waste of Phoenix credits. As for the other guy in the terminal, he is selling an electronics gear mod, so we've already spoken about those. They are safe to buy if you want them, but by now I'm pretty sure most of you guys have them. Also, sorry for the background noise, it's raining pretty heavily here, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but if you can, I do apologise. Almost there. Final vendor, right in the underground. This week you have an X45 or a G36. Now the X45 is being nerfed in 1.4 because it is the most powerful sidearm, so they're bringing it more in line with the other sidearms, which are of course being buffed, so don't worry about that too much. It just means they'll be, slightly more balanced altogether. As for the talents, this one has Expert and Ferocious, so I've spoken about Ferocious, really not that exciting. not worth your time, and it's also the underground rank 41, so really not going to suggest going to rank 40 to get an X45. As for the G36, it's probably the only weapon that I would recommend this week, simply because it has skilled on it. It has intense, which is a horrible skill. I would get rid of that, and that would be the one that you would roll out. But it also has skilled and focused. Now, I've said this time and time again, but I would always, no matter what you do, carry a weapon with skilled. Even if it's not your primary, even if it's not your secondary, even if you just have it in your bag, having a weapon with skilled so you can quickly get back your signature skill resource is extremely useful in high-end endgame activities. And if you're running, say, like an Alpha Bridge build with 2 assault rifles, then you could always throw this on, get rid of intense, have skilled and one other talent as, say, your 4th or 5th or 6th talent, and then it would have value. So, honestly, this week, weapon-wise, I would only really recommend that G36 in the underground. It's underground rank 20, pretty easy, pretty attainable, 716 Phoenix credits, so it's not that expensive. It's only gear score 204, but that also means the requirements are lower. So yeah, that is probably all I would say this week. What I will say, however, to wrap up this video is I've been getting a lot of questions on how should I prepare for 1.4 when it does drop. Honestly, I would just say stockpile your currencies. Make sure you are capped on Phoenix credits. Make sure you have as much general currency and of course Dark Zone funds as well. The reason for this is because all 3 of these are going to be very useful in the Dark Zone. In 1.4 there will be blueprints you'll actually want to buy. And of course in the base of operations there'll be things for credits and for Phoenix credits. And also the other thing is in 1.4 you can buy sealed caches. You can buy them from the Dark Zone, you can buy them from the Underground, you can buy them from the other vendors in exchange for all the different currencies. So Phoenix credits, Dark Zone funds, etc. So if you're looking for some gear pieces, especially say if 1.4 drops and you want to get some new gear set pieces, then buying caches and opening them is actually a great way to get things. Don't be fooled, by the way, don't buy high-end gear caches when it drops. You need to buy gear set ones, but I will do a video on that nearer the time. But for the time being, if you're looking to prepare for 1.4, don't worry about buying items from these resets. I would just say, if anything, stock up on the safe things, like performance gear mods, electronics gear mods, stamina, firearms, maybe some weapon mods if you really want to. And besides that, just save your currency and make sure you're capped. And if you want to farm seal caches in things like the Dark Zone and just hang on to them, they could also have value. But beyond that, I would honestly recommend just hanging tight. There's not really much else you need to do. Just weather the storm until 1.4. Once it does drop, you will have a much better time. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions. And take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.